Here we go. Here's my second story. I left it off. I'm going to go dark on this one. Because I'm just driving around San Diego trying to figure out where the fuck to park in. I can't find a parking space because so many people live here and you want to just go to Starbucks, but they know it's a 20-minute. It's a 20-minute. Seriously, dude. Cake by the ocean. Okay, here's my second story. You're not gonna believe it, and I don't care, dude. I don't care. Like I said, I love me some Jesus, love me some Steven, and I don't care. You can just, they're out there somewhere, you ask them. Okay, here's the problem with hashtag MRA. Remember, I was a pro se litigant in West Texas. Here's the quick backstory. Got to get off the story, but you just got to be quick on it. So you have to provide a little bit of context. Otherwise, your stories don't make sense, especially when people just find, okay, here we go. Right, here we go. Shit. I hate it when it does that. You know, I'm trying to get some good music, and I'm trying to tell my story about federally protected statuses. And I don't like this song. Here we go. Okay, this is a true story, and I'm going to, hang on. And I think it's important. Sorry for the bad music.
Activate your radio.
I'm going to activate my, seriously, Sirius, you need a, you know, Sirius Radio just, I don't think it, okay. Should I do this one? Yeah. Boom. Federally protected statuses. Okay, quick story. The problem with, okay, here's hashtag MRA. I was a pro se litigant in West Texas. Ex-wife decided she didn't like her ex-husband, so she went cunt. And then boom, she kind of wanted to just limit all my access for no reason. And I'm like, fuck that. And so she hired her big, and then I hired my big, and I mean big in two different ways, if you know what I mean. I hired big, you know what I mean? Those sometimes the big bottom girls, you know. The big bottom girls. Well, she hired okay, so my ex went cunt. She hired the big dollar. I hired the big bottom. And then boom, what happened? What happened is my big bottom didn't like me because I wanted to fight to see my kids, and she didn't really get that. You know, there's a lot of attorneys that just think in terms of kind of a, I guess you would call it a feminism victimization. In fact, you see it all the time. You know, in fact, I was at Starbucks recently and I saw that the Fox News girl sued the Fox News dude for $20 million. And what feminism has become is it's become a narrative of victimization. And if you notice, what started out as equality has moved. Feminism has started out as a legitimate desire and a need for equality. But now if you notice, feminism, there's always the victim cashing a check. And that's one of the reasons why I'm going to sue West Texas for $58 million, sue a school system, sue a physician, and sue her family and the city for $58 million because I want to start a precedent that men's rights matter. I mean, think about it. If the Fox News lady can sue for $20 million, then I think a father and father's rights, and there you go. And so anyway, so you can kind of get the idea that I'm not the most compliant client, and I'm a father, so I'm a dad, and so I fight for my kids, and so I parted ways with my attorney. And so I was a pro se litigant in West Texas fighting for his own civil. So you got a picture like Robin Williams, Mrs. Doubtfire, and I'm picking my jury, but I'm not a lawyer. In fact, I'm very happy. I'm very glad that I'm not a lawyer because someday I want to go to heaven and I want to have a soul. The problem with going through hashtag MRA and being a pro se litigant and doing a jury trial and then fighting that for 2 or 3 years and still fighting that is you begin to think in legal terms. You're like, this story is really long and I'm sick of it. Okay, stay with me. So here I am doing my little meditation last night, and I like to go to these little private nature places. Nature kind of soothes my soul, little Psalms 23. And so here I am, and I'm just having literally just kind of a meditation out there in La Jolla, and 2 cops approach me. And they approach me like, they triangulate. So before I know it, I'm like literally having a meditation, and the next minute I have 2 flashlights in my face. One on my passenger side, one on my left side, and I mean literally I have my Bible out and I have, you know, and I'm thinking like a lawyer, not because I am, it's because that's just kind of, I'm thinking in terms of federally protected statuses And, remember, gender is a federally protected status, as is handicap, as is race. Like, for example, you can't fire somebody because they're Hispanic. I mean, that's a federally protected status. You can't fire somebody because they're gay. You can't fire somebody because they're, they're not the right religion. Or you can't fire somebody because, they have a handicap. So these are federally protected statuses. And one of the federally protected statuses is gender. And one of my big pro se litigant beliefs is that if gender equality were brought into the civil system, then there would be more equality. And again, feminism as of today does not like the E word. It does not like equality. But I'm thinking in terms of equality. So here I am, and they're asking me if I have cannabis, and then I answer in legal terms. I said, am I being detained? And soon as I ask a cop if I'm being detained, which is a legal term, he like whips me out of my truck, and I'm like doing like cross your fingers, and I think I'm about to get fucking arrested, dude, right? And of course I'm scared as fuck, and then they keep asking me, what do you have? And I'm like, well, I have the 4th Amendment, and I also have the 5th Amendment. And I'm thinking, I'm trying to answer his questions, but I'm answering them really right, I think, but it's scaring them because I'm talking in terms of 5th Amendment, which means I don't have to answer these questions. I don't have to let you search my vehicle. And I'm scared as fuck because, I'm afraid I'm going to get arrested. And, I don't have family or friends out here. So pretty vulnerable out here. So I was scared as fuck, and I was so scared. And long story short, they let me go. But the funny part of the story, this part of the story that you're not going to believe is, they finally found some of my cannabis. And I just explained to them, cannabis is a part of my spiritual path. And it is. And no one's going to tell me different. And remember, religion is a federally protected status. And so now I have to comply with these officers and throw my cannabis out. And for me, the cannabis is sacred. Whether you believe it or not, for me, cannabis is sacred. And so I respectfully tell this cop, I said, no, I'm not going to destroy this. If you want it destroyed, you're going to have to destroy it because cannabis is sacred and I cannot throw it on the ground. And he looks at me and he hands my cannabis back. He's like, all right, you guys have a great night. And he let me go. Of course, I was scared, and they probably thought, and who knows? But the point is, if anybody would have ever, if anybody were to have told you that if you claim, and it's the truth, if you go through that, so a cop literally pulled me over, found cannabis in California, and because I'm thinking in terms of federally protected statuses, I'm like, no, I'm not going to destroy my cannabis because it's sacred. You're actually asking me to violate my faith, my religion. So a police officer handed me, if you would have ever told me that a police officer would have handed me cannabis back and says, all right, see you later, dude. Anyway, that's a true story. That's one of the side effects of cannabis and hashtag MRA. Told you wouldn't believe the story, but it's true. Anyway, thanks for not sending me to jail. It's so weird. And then he and I kind of tangoed a little bit because he was like, well, I asked you if you had drugs. I'm like, I don't have drugs. I have a plant. And to me, cannabis is a plant. And anyway, I don't think he knew what to do with me. Like, hashtag MRA, what? So remember, federally protected statuses are still relevant. I know the 4th Amendment's kind of evaporating, the 1st Amendment's kind of evaporating, but federally protected statuses, we live in the country and we the people. You guys have a great day. Email me, Americana417@gmail.com.